Hey, it's Drybear. Today we're continuing our series of explaining every guardian in Lost Ark, and we've landed on Night Fox Yoho. She is the third guardian raid that you'll face in tier 3, and I'm going to split this video up into two parts. The first part, I will explain everything you need to know about Night Fox Yoho in just 60 seconds. And if that's all you're looking for, you can skip out on the video after that. The second part of the video, I'll go much more in depth on all of her mechanics and what to look out for anyone who's looking for extra help. So let's go. But first, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Who knows? I might even be streaming right now. Let's begin with Night Fox Yoho explained in 60 seconds. She has 4 phases visually indicated by her tail count. At all stages, barrages will fall, the pink ones deal damage, the blue ones knock up. When she spawns clones, kill the clones and gather orbs for an armor buff. She can charge, flash into you, or jump, so keep your eyes peeled. She does a swipe attack that is followed by 4 images in the 4 cardinal directions from where she's facing. Dash into the boss after she swipes for best results. In her later phases, the cardinal directions will be rotated. When she darkens the screen, get some distance and dodge tornadoes. If one hits you, you will need to be broken out by teammates or you'll be transformed. When she lays down, it's a stagger check. When she makes a spinning ring, pass the stagger check or exit the ring using super armor. Sometimes she'll turn you into a fox girl. Teammates can kill you in this state, so stay away from them. All right, now let's go into depth with the details without the time restriction. Let's talk Night Fox Yoho. As previously mentioned, she has 4 phases. This is denoted by the number of tails she has on her back. She will start the encounter with 3 tails, and every time she phases up, she will gain 2 tails. All throughout the encounter will be constant bombardments coming down from above. They'll be in several different colors. The light pink just deals a minor amount of damage, and the blue ones are a little bit smaller, but they deal more damage and they will knock you up and CC you. She also has mechanics that increase the frequency of these, so you just have to be wary of this throughout the entire fight. Next, she will spawn clones of her human form all over and near her during the encounter. They'll attack you and they don't really do that much damage, but if you kill them, each of them will drop 2 orbs on the ground. When you collect them, you'll get a stacking buff that stacks up to 3, and it will give you physical damage reduction, which is essentially armor, and it can help reduce the damage you take from the physical attacks in the fight. Now let's talk about her counters. She has 2 different charges that can be countered. The first one looks like this, so she'll turn and face somebody, and then she'll lean down and you'll start to see an after image of her being created. When you see this, that means she's going to do a flash. The flash step that she has is incredibly fast, and it's hard to counter for some classes, but if you're in front of her when she turns blue, you can just hit her with the counter and knock her down. So again, she will lean towards you, start to kneel down, and then you'll see an after image being created of her, and then when that happens, you can counter her. The other is just a simple charge. What she'll do is she'll do a little bit of a flourish animation right before she starts, and then she'll lean forward and then do a charge. The charge is a lot more predictable, as you can see. It's a little bit easier to see. She'll actually light up in fire and then do a charge forward. And this one is also counterable, so if you stand in front of her when she does this, you can counter it, and this one's a lot easier to counter. Here it is from another angle. You can see her shake her head a little bit. There's a little bit of flourish animation right before she does it, and then she'll charge forward. She can also do a little jump that she'll jump forward and land on, and this can be at varying speeds. And what makes her an interesting fight over time is that she can actually mix up the charge, the flash step, and the jump as much as she wants. So oftentimes you'll see her jump randomly out of a different ability, or maybe she'll charge into a flash step, or she'll flash step into a jump. So you have to be ready for her to do it. She doesn't do any more than a 2-hit combo on her movements, but just be wary that she can charge, flash, and jump randomly. Her other movement ability is a teleport. So you'll see her raise her head up into the air, bring her tails up like this. You ever see her raise her head in the air and then raise these tails up in the air? She's about to teleport. Now, when she does this, she will disappear from the fighting area. Big AoE will show up and then she'll teleport somewhere else. And she will always do one of 2 things right after the teleport. So when she lands here, she will either do a charge or she will do a jump. So either way, you just have to be ready. As soon as she lands, the next thing she's going to do is either a charge and then a jump. And remember, because of what we mentioned earlier, she can combo this into another charge or a flash step or a jump right out of that. She has 2 different fireball attacks that she'll use. The first one, it looks like this. She'll lean forward. And if you ever see her lean forward like this and her back is on fire, it means that she's going to be spawning fireballs up from above her, and these will just randomly go out in random directions. Sometimes those even target players, and there's a varying amount of it as well. So anytime you see her kneel down like this and start channeling with her head forward while her back's on fire like this, you know she's going to be shooting fireballs everywhere. So if you're someone who's like, for example, in this case, if you're right behind her, just be wary that there could be fireballs going straight down to hit you where you are. So while she's channeling this, be aware. The other one, she will target a specific player and channel 2 to 4 fireballs into them. The way she starts this attack is the same every time. You'll see her lift her feet up into the air like this, and then she'll place them down on the ground and then lean them forwards. You can actually see her leaning forward, and then she'll be looking directly at someone with this posture her up like this. And then while she's targeting someone, she will then shoot out 2 to 4 fireballs in bursts of 2. So she'll shoot out 2, and then sometimes she'll shoot out another 2 as well. And so if you're the person that's being targeted by this attack, the best thing you can do is just dodge, but without turning the boss towards your teammates, because you'll end up hitting them with the fireballs. So for example, one of the things I like to do is I will, if I'm here and I know she's shooting at me and I can see that my teammates are all over here, I will just move this way to dodge the first 2 fireballs and then move back the opposite way and just strafe to dodge the next 2 fireballs, which keeps her in her position, right? She's locked like this, and we know that her back attack is in the same spot so that she doesn't move much, rather than I've seen some people with high swiftness go all the way around her and just spin her like that, and then it ends up getting teammates hit by fireballs while you're doing that. Next, let's talk about her 4 images attack. This is actually the same attack initially that you'd see from Flame Fox Yoho. So you'll see her do a spin attack, and then shortly after, in the 4 cardinal directions, so south, east, north, and west, she'll spawn images of her that will also do the attack right after her. Now, the best way to dodge this is to either go to the safe spot. You know that in phase 1 and 2, it's always going to be these directions. So obviously southwest, northwest, southeast, and northeast are going to be safe locations. So you can back up a little bit when you see her do this, kneel up for the spin, and then find the safe zone. Alternatively, if you are in a bad spot, you know you're in one of the cardinal directions, and you know she just did the spin, then dash into her to avoid the hit, because the hitbox for these circles is actually pretty large. So you'll end up getting clipped by the images if you're standing too close to them when she spins. So you can see her walk away, go to the safe spot, or dash into her after the damage. And she always starts this attack with a howl. So if you ever see her lean up and do a howl like this, she's actually about to do the attack here. So you'll see her spin shortly after. She'll start to glow a little bit as well, and then the images will come. Now keep in mind that when you hit phase 3 and 4, as she gets more tails, this will actually rotate to a different ability. In last 2 phases, it will be a rotated directional. So if she is right here, normally it will be north, south, east, and west. However, in phase 3 and 4, it is rotated. So it's actually going to be instead at southwest, southeast, northwest, and northeast. And rather than a spin, it's closer to her, and it will actually do a little bit of a down slam as they come in. So just be aware that when you are in the 3rd and 4th phase, it's going to be rotated, though luckily it's a smaller area. She has 2 important stagger checks. The first is when she lays down like this. Now, we don't have directional indicators like they do in Korea, but I just like to let people know that the way I know where the back is actually we'll go to her flank right here, and this is actually her back. And you'll see when she stands up, it's weird because her tail's over here, obviously, but this is her back, and then her front's over here. So if you're a back attack class, just go to her flank, to her side when she's laying down, and then you can do back attack here. But with this one, you just need to pass the stagger check before it fails, and then she'll break, fall down, and you won't be turned into fox girls. And luckily, once you stagger her, she'll spawn a bunch of orbs if you are not topped up on the buff, and you can pick up the wind ethers for a little bit more damage as well. The next stagger check is when she shoots out her orbs and spawns a ring around her. There's a few things to know about this mechanic. First of all, this is a stagger check, so you can actually break this if you'd like, and the ring that goes around her actually has a knockback on it. So if you go up to these and walk into them, you'll be knocked right back into it. So there's 2 things you can do to deal with this mechanic. First, if everyone's on board, you can go in and do the stagger check and then break her, and then everyone commits to it and you get some extra damage on it. The huge risk here is that if you fail the stagger check, everyone inside of it gets turned into a fox girl for 17 seconds and cannot damage, which could be your whole party, which is a big downside. It depends on what your party is doing. Just be wary that some people may want to do the stagger check, which is perfectly fine and is actually more optimal because you can keep damage on her. Or if you see people leave the circle in order to escape it, just know that as you reach the edge here, you will need to dash through the edge with some kind of super armor so you don't get knocked back. Now, she is staggerable in phase 4, which will expose her tails as a weak spot. The reason this is important is when she reaches phase 4, her tails are giving her damage reduction. You'll notice your damage goes down as she reaches phase 4. And so what you'll have to do is stagger her, do enough weak point damage to the tail, and you'll break off a tail, which will reduce the damage reduction buff that she has on her. Now, some people just burn through this, but it is pretty substantial, so it's useful to stagger her and get that part break to finish her off. So you can use destruction grenades or any abilities that you have that have weak point. Now let's talk about some of the minor abilities that I skipped in the 60-second explanation. First one is going to be this teleport jump. So you'll actually see her, this happens in all phases. She'll spin around in a circle, and then she'll jump straight up into the air, and then she'll turn into a ball and disappear. So when this happens, she will then be, she's targeting a player right when she does this, actually. So if you get good enough at recognizing who she's targeting, so right here, actually, I can show you. I am the one that's being targeted by this. So right before she jumped, she turned over to me and faced me and then did the jump. So I knew I was being targeted. So you can walk away from your teammates and then she will land down on that person who just needs to dodge to avoid the hit. It's pretty straightforward. Just when she goes up in the air, be wary that she's going to land on someone and get ready to dodge. Next, if you are being targeted and you are standing behind her, she has a few attacks that can be a bit pesky. So she'll do a side swipe in either direction, depending on where you're standing. So she can actually swipe this way and hit you if you're here, or swipe the other way and hit you if you're here. And then she will actually do a back swipe as well, a down swipe. So just if you're a back attack class and you're sitting behind her, be wary that you might have to dodge to the side or dodge backward. And it's one of those things you just get used to dodging this one. An important mechanic is going to be the tornado mechanic. So she'll jump up into the air when glowing and land. She'll darken your screen a little bit, and then you'll see these little runes on the ground. You know she's about to do her tornado attack. So what she does is she will periodically spawn tornadoes around the circle around her, and they will gain a random vector. So they don't actually go straight out. They can go at odd angles and move forward, and they'll go pretty far as well. So if we look at the mini map up here, they can go about the full length of the pulse that you have on your body. And so you can handle this in a few ways. The easiest way is just to get a lot of distance, wait for the tornadoes to move out, and then you can just dodge them from a distance, dodge if you have to. But if you ever get hit by one, you will be stunned, and your other teammates will have to break you out. Listen to pings as well during this phase, because you might have a teammate that got hit by the tornado and needs to be broken out when they are in this. A quick tip for this one is she will yell or roar right before she sends her last few tornadoes. So if you see her do the aru, then you can actually just wait a couple seconds for the tornadoes to come out and then go back in for damage. And that's all there is to know about Night Fox Yoho. She's the first guardian that provides great honor leapstones, and she's very straightforward once you get used to her. So there's a lot of extra chip damage you can take from her bombardments, but I think she's a really fun fight and a nice little variation from her sister, the Flame Fox Yoho. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.